There's one thing I realized I haven't spoken about, and that's how am I choosing the right partners. I touched on it a little bit, but I would like to give you a clear kind of a step-by-step guide how I approach partnerships.
只要你对我说声我爱你，姑娘，我整个心儿给了你。只要你对我说声我爱你，姑娘，我整个心儿给了你。
Good morning, guys. So now is 9:26 a.m. It's Monday, and welcome to another episode of Being a Filmmaker. So usually what I do on Monday is that I focus on editing of my YouTube video that's gonna go out tonight, and that's probably what I'm gonna do today as well. So, the day might be quite boring, sitting in front of the computer, but it's what has to be done in order for me to be consistent here on YouTube and post a video every Monday. So let's just dive into it. Alright, new YouTube video has been uploaded, and now is the time for Monday bouldering. Alright guys, now is 9:03 p.m. and while I was in the bouldering gym, I got an email from Bright Tangerine in which they basically confirmed the partnership and the investment. So it means that officially I have the first partner for Nepal expedition, which is amazing. Now there's still 2.5, almost 3 weeks to go before I travel to Nepal. So I'm gonna keep on fundraising, I'm gonna keep on sending emails, and I'm gonna keep you updated on that. This week, I also really wanna talk about the philosophy behind choosing the right partners for your project and how I approach this. So that's probably gonna happen at some point during the week. But now it's time to go to bed, and yeah, we will see what else the week ahead will bring. Good morning. So right now is 7:11 a.m. and I basically have meetings the whole morning. So I'm just going to be running from one place to another, meeting a local filmmaker, meeting Piania, my producer, and then meeting another friend who might actually have some connection to potential partners. So that's going to be my whole morning. And in the afternoon, I'll continue sending emails, and I'll also update you on the situation of the fundraising. Alright, now it's 2:36 p.m. I'm back home. The morning meetings went well, and now I have to continue sending emails for potential partners for my Nepal expedition and documentary film. So that's what I'm gonna work on today. I have to do some follow-ups, and I have to send out some new emails. Now, I want to quickly touch on why I'm documenting this whole process this way. And the main reason is because I want to be fully transparent, and I really want to show you what goes into being a filmmaker. I'm cooked. The type of filmmaker that I want to be, adventure documentary filmmaker. And basically, show you an unfiltered version of everything that I do, because I am myself still figuring things out. A lot of the things I'm doing is experimenting. Some of the things are working, some of the things are not working. And so this process is extremely interesting for me. And also, I think there's a lot of lessons that could be learned from this. And if there's one thing that, I really truly believe in, that is that each of us has to find our own path. No matter what people tell you to do, in the end, you kind of have to figure out your own way of doing things. And I always try to find a way that aligns with my values, with who I am, with what I believe in. And this particular project in Nepal is one of those things. You know, it's very much aligned with who I am. It's my personal project. And so every step of this project, I try to approach the way I would ideally want to be doing things. When it comes to, you know, finding a film for a character, that means immersing myself in the Sherpa community for some time and then finding character based on a personal connection. When it comes to reaching out to partners, it's all about reaching to partners that I already have connections with, that I feel I know the people behind the brand, rather than just, you know, cold emailing random partners that I think would be a good fit. It also is about personal approach towards the partners and really trying to figure out how I can help, whether that's with content or just bringing them on board of the project. And yeah, so this is very important part of how I want to do things. And not always I get to do things this way, because if I work with production companies or with other clients, there's always a little bit of a layer between how we as creatives want to work and how the clients want us to work. And so with this, I'm really trying to figure out the ideal way for me to work on projects and to put projects together, so that hopefully this journey can also inspire you to, you know, not always do everything as people say you should do because it has worked for them, but to kind of try to find your own way through your filmmaking journey or photography journey or creative journey in general. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. As I said, now I'm gonna go back to emails, and if there's any updates, I'll keep you guys posted. But if not, yeah, I'll probably film another part of this video tomorrow. Good morning, guys. So now it's around 9 a.m. I hope that the music is not too loud. But basically I came down to this local cafe in order to get my thoughts on a paper, because yesterday I felt a little foggy. And so I really want to make sure that I can focus again, that I empty what's been on my mind, and that basically I do everything I can in order to fundraise and find the right partners for Nepal expedition. Now, that's something that I'm going to work on right now. And, you know, sometimes when our minds feel foggy, for what I found out, the best thing is to actually accept it, you know, accept it on the day that you feel foggy. Take it easy, don't push yourself too much, and then you will come back next day with much better focus and much clearer mind.
So I cannot move and I cannot compensate. It just one, tap it, back up.
I love editing. I love editing this boludeces.
It's fun. I think it's fun and it's honest. Yeah. Alright guys, I'm back in the office and I just returned from a mobility class that focuses on hips, knees and ankles, because I want to get, you know, in the best shape possible for Nepal in the next 3 weeks. And because I'm going to be hiking a lot, the hip mobility and hip strength is extremely important. And recently I had a little bit of an issue with my hip when I was bouldering, so I'm just trying to fix that as soon as possible. Now, you know, yesterday I spoke about why am I doing these videos and the way I think about sharing value or sharing my journey with people. And you know what, I realized that some of the videos that I'm making are not getting a lot of views. And you know, sometimes when you're focused on statistics, that might feel like, oh, maybe the video wasn't good or something similar. You know, it's just not a best feeling when you post a video and suddenly instead of being one of the best watched videos, it's one of the worst watched videos, even though I know that the video is full of value. But I always try to distance myself from the statistics and rather kind of follow my instinct on what I think would help me a few years ago. And the latest video where I was documenting my pitching journey would definitely be a video like that. Now, the people who watch the video, however, are actually very much enjoying it and it is inspiring them. And I know that because I'm getting messages from people, and this is something that really warms my heart and really makes me want to focus on these videos more. And I'll just read you a quick message here from Kurt, which I received this morning. Jakub, I've watched several of your videos and I'm now watching the latest of Nepal pitch. I'm drawn to your story, approach, trajectory of your career. I feel that you inspire me and ignite the fire a little bit that I kinda lost. So that's just the part of the message, but this is why I'm doing these videos. You know, I hope that through what I'm sharing and through figuring out my journey as I go, I can inspire people and I can motivate you to also follow your path and follow your inner calling, whatever that may be. You know, it doesn't mean that it's same as my calling, but I just want people to be able to listen to their inner voice and kind of have the courage to pursue that inner voice in order to, I guess, find more purpose and meaning in life. And so messages like these are extremely heartwarming for me. So that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. Now, this week, as I mentioned, I'm focusing on fundraising, but because I did a lot of the groundwork last week with the presentation and with adjusting that presentation to certain partners, and I've sent those presentations out, now I'm basically just waiting to hear from all of these players that I've sent the presentation to. If I don't hear from them probably until tomorrow, so Thursday, I'm gonna follow up because, you know, in all the communication that we are going through these days, emails can get lost. And so I just wanna make sure that I follow up and that I at least get a no rather than silence. And so that's what I'm focusing on this week. And then I'm gonna start preparing for the expedition from the gear perspective. So probably that will happen tomorrow or the day after. Yesterday, I was able to talk to F-Stop, which I'm sure you're familiar. They make probably the best camera backpacks out there for adventure and documentary filmmakers. I've been using their Chlouba for probably the past 3 years and I'm extremely happy with it. And I sent them the presentation deck and they are happy to support the mission with some equipment, which is great because I know that I'll have to pack really light for Nepal when it comes to gear. And so I might even consider bringing a smaller backpack than the Chlouba, maybe a 37-liter backpack. But I need to figure out if all my equipment that I want to bring can fit into that backpack. So I'm probably going to try to do that today. I don't know, is this interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, my wife says it's interesting, so I'm gonna keep it in the video. Alright, so I have just jumped off the call with a friend who has a marketing creative agency, and on Monday when I sent him the presentation, he mentioned that he might have a really good lead for me. And so the brand that he spoke about is actually a perfect fit for this project. I'm not gonna mention the name, but they are in the outdoor clothing industry, and they actually focus on creating products from yak wool, and yaks are the animals that are very native to the Himalayas and to the Tibetan plateau as well. And through their products, you know, they're also supporting local families in Tibet. And so this would be a really good fit for a partnership. I just need to adjust the presentation a little bit and then he will send it to them. And maybe on Friday we will have a call together. So I'll keep you guys posted, but this could be a really good lead and it would match perfectly with the mission and with the vision of this expedition. Good morning guys, now is 10:33 a.m. and we're just setting up this sort of a talking head setup. Alright guys, so this is gonna be just a quick testing of basically packing my camera for Nepal, and obviously I'm gonna do this properly just before I go to the expedition, but I wanted to test how much gear I can actually bring with me. And the reason is because I'm gonna be hiking a lot, so I really wanna bring only the necessities, and I really wanna fit everything into this large ICU f-stop box. The ideal scenario would be if I can fit it into the medium one. I unfortunately don't have the medium one with me, but that's basically kind of without this top compartment. So right here on this side I have all the camera gear that I want to bring, and I'm just gonna try to pack it in, and then I'm also gonna show you the build of the camera that I'm thinking about. So first of all, my main camera body, Kinefinity Mavo LF Mark II, and that one usually goes right here at the bottom. And that kind of takes quite a lot of space already in the box. Next, batteries. So I think I'm gonna be bringing only 2 V-mount batteries. So I'll have to be really intentional with how much I shoot. But I know that with 2 V-mounts, if I circulate them and one is always on the charger, I can shoot pretty much the whole day. Yeah, let's see. Because if I will be trekking and sleeping somewhere outside, 2 V-mounts might not be enough. So maybe I'll bring 3, but let's see what we can fit in. So those would probably go somewhere in, take this out. Maybe here, 1, 2, and theoretically I could put a third one on top. So let me try that actually. 1, 2, 3, 3 batteries. Secure them like this. Then we go with lenses. So I think that for lenses, I'll keep it simple and I'll bring 2 prime lenses, 50mm f1.4 and 20mm or 24mm. So these are Canon FD lenses, not rehoused, but cinemodded for EF mount. So these could theoretically just go here, one on top of each other, and we could secure them with this. Then we have monitor and a viewfinder. So viewfinder, it's actually quite slim, so I can roll this and I could stuck it right here. And then monitor could go probably here in front of the camera. That's how I usually pack it. Now, also an ND filter. So I'll either be bringing a circular ND or I'll be bringing an EF adapter with an electronic ND. But if I bring that, that means I need to bring 2 EF adapters, one clear and one with ND. So I need to really think about it. But this fits very nicely in here. SSDs for the camera probably could go here. And then I want to bring my Fujifilm camera for photos. This camera will most of the time be hanging on my backpack, but just for the travel reasons, I can put it over here. And then we have the accessories, which could go into different pockets in the backpack, especially for the hiking, or could even go to the backpack of my porter. Now, I'm bringing mostly bright tangerine accessories because it's extremely lightweight and extremely durable. So I would be bringing these 2 handles. These can either work as shoulder rig handles, or I could also just use one of them as a side handle. So I'll bring these, but probably I'll actually not put them inside here. Here I'll put the second battery for the camera, for the Fujifilm, and I would probably put it in a pouch, which actually might even go here. So this is a pouch that I use for cables and other stuff. I need to organize it, but this battery is so tiny it could just go here. And then most of these accessories, as I said, could be with the porter for hiking, but then for when I'm gonna be walking around alone or with just a mountain guide, I would have to fit it into the backpack. But that could go into other pockets or into something like this. Now, one more thing I have is the microphone. So I'll either bring this Sennheiser MKE 600, which is a really good shotgun microphone. It's quite long. Or I might bring the MKE 400, which is currently on my Lumix, which is basically just 1/3 of the size of this one. So I really need to decide what I'm gonna do, but this is basically it for the gear that I want to bring with me. I will also get a GoPro or DJI Osmo for vlogging and BTS. This camera is for photos, this camera is for videos. It almost looks like I could fit everything into the medium ICU, which would be amazing because I wouldn't need to bring my Tilopa and I could bring something lighter, maybe Ajna from f-stop 37 liter, or even their new Kashmir backpack, which is only 32 liters. As I said, obviously this has to go into the backpack, but the backpacks have other pockets which I could use, and the most important stuff goes into here, which is the batteries, the camera, the small camera. I also need to pack chargers, but these batteries can be charged with USB-C cable, so that's perfect, and I just need a multifunctional adapter, which I already have. Microphone I usually actually put into a side pocket, so either side pocket, or if I use the small one I can put it here. Now my, I guess, biggest question right now is, do I take my Fujifilm X100F for photos, or do I try to bring a hybrid that can also do video so I can vlog? There's two options. One, I'll bring Fujifilm for photos, this for the film, and for BTS I'll use iPhone and either GoPro or DJI Osmo. The second option would be to actually sell my Lumix S1 within the next 2 weeks and get something like Fujifilm X-S20 or Sony a6700 or ZV-E1 or something like that. But that would mean bringing more batteries, that would mean bringing another lens, so yeah. Well, as you can see, guys, this is the process, you know, of me kind of thinking about what to bring and really trying to fine-tune the gear so it works for the particular project that I'm going on. Now I really need to decide if I'm gonna bring the medium ICU or I'm gonna bring the large ICU. I'll probably decide within the next few days and I'll keep you posted on that. But of course I'm gonna do a proper packing video once the expedition is confirmed and I'm going to Nepal. Alright guys, so we were preparing the gear and coincidentally I've already received some products from the first partner of the expedition, Bright Tangerine. I got a base plate, I got their top handle, and then a few other small accessories. So I'm gonna put it on the camera right now and show you how basically the camera setup would look like for Nepal. Well, I forgot to add the cables for monitor and the viewfinder, but this would be the setup with the Bright Tangerine accessories. So base plate, top handle, which is awesome, side handle or side rail, which actually is something that is really missing on the Kinefinity cage that I have, because you lose a lot of space where you could attach stuff. So I got this Bright Tangerine side plate, and that allows me to either attach stuff or to hold the camera on this side. Then Bright Tangerine grip, and yeah, so this would be one of the setups. As you can see, still pretty compact, but also it has everything I might need. Here I would also attach a microphone, and then I can really, you know, start filming. Now I think that for some of the scenes or some of the parts of the film I might need to be even more nimble, and so here's actually the setup with just the monitor and the side handle. So as you can see, much smaller footprint. Now all that is missing is a microphone, but I think this setup and the one that I just showed you will be basically the main setups for the Nepal expedition. So I put full focus on Nepal. I was like, okay, I have 4 weeks. Let's see what I can do, you know. And it's been going well, I think. Yeah. Last week I got Bright Tangerine to support. And then I'm also still waiting for music platforms like Audio, MusicBed, and all of these people. So that's good. Yeah, so that's good. Good morning, guys. So now is 10:44 a.m. I woke up a little late today because yesterday there was a big storm, and I went out to have my morning coffee and kind of, you know, journaling to clear my mind and put some thoughts on the paper. And I'm gonna spend the rest of the day editing this YouTube video that you're actually watching. There's one thing I realized I haven't spoken about in this particular video yet, and that's how am I choosing the right partners. I touched on it a little bit, but I would like to give you a clear kind of a step-by-step guide how I approach partnerships. And so let me just do that now. So for me, the first step in the process when choosing the right partners or reaching out is first trying to work with partners that I already have a working relationship with. Maybe we've done some small projects in the past, maybe financials haven't been involved, but I know that the people on the other side, the people behind the brand, are people that I align with and that we have a good personal connection. So that's step number one. Now, if I'm reaching to new partners, and usually that would be after I've kind of depleted the options of reaching to partners I worked with, then I would reach out to brands that I've been actually using for a long time. And so I know their product, I know that their product or service is really crucial in my process. And particularly, it also has to be crucial and important for the project that I'm currently working on or the project that I'm trying to find partners for. That would be step number one. It's kind of the identification of the right and fitting partners. Step number two would be to really make sure that we align on our values. So if I've been working with a brand and I want to onboard this brand for this particular project, I want to make sure that the brand has same values as I do and also as the projects that I'm currently fundraising for. And this is really important for me, and the more I am on this journey of being a filmmaker, the more I want to put focus on this, because I do care about sustainability, I care about making positive impact, and so I want to work with brands that have same values, because then the collaboration just becomes much deeper, and that the brand is not jumping on board just because they want to get the most out of it, but also because they really care about the project and about who you are as a creator or as a filmmaker. Now the third step, and this is something that usually happens when I'm already in touch with people behind the brand, is to see if I can really bring value. I don't want to be bringing a product or service on board of a project just because they provide either financials or product support, but I also really want to know that I am providing value back. And I think this is something that in the past maybe I haven't thought about so much, and that's why I probably wasn't so successful in onboarding partnerships maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But the more I really focus on bringing value to the partner, the more I can see that people are interested in working with me. And if I feel like I can't bring value, maybe because the product is not the right fit, then I would rather not onboard a partner and probably bring them on a project in the future where I feel like I can provide the value that they deserve. And once these 3 steps are kind of checked, then it's all about figuring out the right setup, figuring out the financials, the deliverables, the timelines, and everything that goes into, partnerships. Now, one more thing that I always like to think about is, can I imagine this brand being my long-term partner? Because as someone who really cares about personal connections, I want to be building and developing partnerships that can be long-term, because through that you get to understand the client or the brand or the product, and through that understanding over time you can help and you can bring more value. Plus you can, both of the parties, you and the other side, can grow on that journey. And if I can't really see that brand or the partner in a long run or being my long-term partner, then I also try to kind of rather step away from this partnership, because then I might feel like I'm just opportunistic in the moment. Like I feel that it could be a good fit right now, but if I don't see myself working with this brand in the future, I would rather I would rather not work with that brand in the short run either. Just like with, relationships, I think. So yeah, these are just my thoughts on, finding the right partners for your project. And I know that this is coming at the end of the video, but obviously you can see the chapters at the bottom, so you can skip to this part, or maybe you already did. And yeah, for the upcoming week, I'm still waiting for replies from certain partners. I'm still waiting for some negotiations. And so I'll keep you posted how the Nepal fundraising is going. And I'm gonna be preparing more and more in the upcoming 2 weeks. So I need to test some lenses, I want to figure out the visual language. I need to dive into the story. And I also need to start preparing the expedition logistics, even though those will be kind of organized by the travel agency that I'm going with. But still, there are things that I need to take care of. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope that there has been some value in this video. And if you want to see and if you want to stay updated on the fundraising, make sure to check out Patreon. You can sign up for free. And I'm doing kind of every 2 days, every 3 days an update on the situation. Plus, of course, I'm documenting the whole process in Being the Filmmaker series that you're currently watching. So yeah, guys, I'll see you next week. Peace.